Now, I say this every week, but I'm actually genuinely super excited to get my next guest on. Now, those of you that listen to the show and are fans of the WSL, I'm delighted to say that joining me is Tottenham Hotspur's women's manager, Martin Ho. Martin, thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No worries. So, no place other than to start. Brighton game at the weekend, 1-0 win. Tamberg gets the goal. Talk to me about that one. You must be buzzing after that.
Yeah, really happy. I think, yeah, we went into the game optimistic. We'd come in with some confidence after rebuilding, after we'd took that heavy defeat to Man City. And yeah, I think we come to the game with some confidence. And yeah, Katinka's goal sealed the win.
And Tamberg, came in very late in the transfer window. Like, how much were you part of the orchestration of her coming to the club? And like, just talk to me a little bit about that because she's been fantastic.
Yeah, no, I think I've known Katinka for a while, Leanne, in terms of from my time in Norway. I'd obviously tried to get to Bram when I was there and I failed twice. She then went to Hammarby and Linköping. And then more importantly, away from that, I tried to work hard when I got to the club in a short space of time with what was left in the window to get a centre forward in because I feel we need to have more depth in that area. And obviously Katinka coming in now has given us a different dimension. It's a different profile, which I think is important. It's not the same as what we have in Beth and Martha, so that's nice. But she's hit the ground running. She scored 3 goals. Yeah, she seems to be building some confidence.
And a lot of people have been very complimentary of you. When I see you on the sideline, to me, you look like a proper manager, and I love it. And I know people know what I mean by that. And I know Tom Gary was on our show last week, and he spoke really highly of you when you were assistant at Manchester United. Then you go over to Brand. Like, talk to me about how much that experience kind of helped you. Being it was like your first head coaching job, moving from assistant. Like, how did that help you kind of progress into this massive job you have now?
Massively, Lianne. That was probably the biggest experience, probably the best experience I've had in the last 15, 16 years of coaching. It grounded me more importantly. I learned a different culture, more importantly, a different environment, but also learned how to be more innovative in my work because over in Norway, I didn't have the resources and finances to be able to go and really push really high. And more importantly, I had to be creative with that. So developing our young talent, trying to find young talent before anyone else did, and making sure we had a very clear framework around the players. And that's enabled me to take some really good experiences away from there. We'll be in the Champions League, to be the group phases, playing some good teams and getting to the quarter final, but also me managing, learning different managing techniques and skills, but also more importantly, how to build an infrastructure, build a staffing group, but more importantly, build a squad that can be competitive. And that's really shaped a lot of the things that I'm doing now at Tottenham. And we have work to do in a lot of areas, but more importantly, I think we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, you've got off to a brilliant start, all bar the Manchester City women game, but they've been off to a flyer. Like 5 games, 4 wins, 1 loss. Like you must be absolutely buzzing with how the start to the season's gone.
Yeah, definitely. I think more importantly, it's for the belief and the confidence in the group now. And I think when I come in, they were really flat. They were low. They'd had a really difficult season previously. So coming in, it was trying to rebuild confidence and self belief in those players, build a real clear framework around the group, but more importantly, just make us hard to beat. Leon, I think when I watched the games back previously, when I'd come in and I thought we were a little bit too easy to beat. I thought we lacked any intensity to defend and any aggressiveness in our game, and I knew that was probably a shadow of the group when I come in. And we've just tried to instill really clear behaviours and really clear standards that the players have to abide by, and if they want to represent Tottenham. And more importantly, I think we're showing that there's still a long way to go. We're not. I think Everton was the only really complete performance we've had from back to front. I thought we were very good in the first half yesterday against Brighton. I think that probably then blew them away a little bit, if I'm honest. And then more importantly, we've showed a different side to us, Liam. We're defending the box more resilient. We're getting bodies in front of the ball. We're not allowing people to have free shots on goal. So yeah, I'm really pleased with the start. And if you'd have said to me you're going to be 12 from a possible 15, I'd have snapped your hand off.
Yeah, I mean, when I told our very own Adrian Durham that I was getting you on the show today, he was very complimentary of your high pressing type of style that you have. Now, another person you had a lot of praise for, Jess Naz, after yesterday's performance. She's having a great season so far, kind of been in and out of the England squad, in the
Yeah.
last couple of years. What have you seen from her that have made you really proud and happy?
Yeah, I think Jess's attitude and willingness to learn is really big. She wants to be better. She wants to develop. She just wants the ideas and the solutions of how to do that. And I've seen a real bright and intelligent young player who wants to take the right steps. She's got big ambitions to play domestically and internationally. And more important with Jess, she's starting to really show now what she's capable of. And we know that that needs to be on a persistent and consistent level over a period of time. If you want to establish yourself, Lianne, as you know, in a national team. You've got to be consistent, and Jess is starting to show that now. And I think just a little bit of TLC and a little bit of kind of care and wrap around with her as a player. She's starting to really show that. And I thought yesterday she done really well.
Yeah, and talking of TLC, I mean, she's been quite public in speaking about the horrific racial abuse that she received in recent weeks. I mean, as somebody that experiences that myself, it's not a nice feeling. And then obviously, your captain, Beth England's come out and spoken about not taking the knee anymore. I mean, how impactful is it that kind of the team have stood together? You know, they wore t-shirts and those things, but like, how is Jess doing, and kind of how has the group supported her during this time?
Really important. And I think more importantly, Leon, we have to make sure that there's bigger consequences for these actions now. I think we try so much to make sure that we make a stance on these things, but actually I don't think us just speaking about it anymore is enough. We try to do as much to make noise about it and make sure it's known, but actually it's a big attack for me on the values of respect, equality, humanity, and we have to come to a point where local authorities and social media networks actually start putting bigger consequences in place, because I think no one, whether it's Jess or it's any player in sport, but even in society, you shouldn't have to deal with those things. You're doing something you enjoy, and you wake up in the morning and have messages, or you get some sort of abuse. I think it's so bad, and more importantly for me, Jess has had all of our support. She's been unbelievable. I think to deal with what she's had to deal with, she had to step onto the pitch against Leicester, knowing that she had to step onto the pitch against Aston Villa, knowing that. And more importantly now, I'm really proud of her, because that takes a lot for a young player, but under no circumstances should it happen. And I will do everything I can in my power and with the club to support that.
Yeah, completely agree with you and all of that. And our solidarities with Jess and the club and everything like that, because it's horrible. Like I said, as someone that goes through it myself. Now, on a more brighter note, we spoke about the results that you guys have had. Apart from the Manchester City game when you're 5-0 down, then you score kind of late on. As a manager and a coach, like, how do you kind of get the team to react? Because they certainly reacted. You go and beat Aston Villa on penalties in the next game. But like, what do you do as a coach? Like, do you look from within, and then you're thinking, oh my God, I need to watch match analysis? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, I think after the game, I tried to take my emotions away from it at first and give them headspace. And I thought the first 20-25 minutes we were well in the game. We were in control. I thought we pushed them back quite a lot. But against those teams, Leon, when you're on top and you're performing, you need to take advantage. And we didn't take advantage of some of the chances we had, and some of the good moments we had from the high press, and we didn't take advantage when we regained. And we had that spell in the middle where the first goal went in, the second come quick. But if I look back at some of the goals where we could have prevented them, it was a little bit of a lack of desire to get in front and actually clear the ball. It was a lack of kind of understanding and more intelligence, that we were just focusing on Bunny because she was in the box, and we wasn't really focused on the rest of the players around it. We lost a little bit of organisation, but then second half we got the response. We pushed them back. We put them on the back foot again for another 20-25 minutes. Olivia got a goal. And then some of the other goals we could have been, I think three or four of the goals we could have prevented. But more importantly, it's just taking away the positive aspects from it, Leon, in terms of keep reflecting on the negative aspects. They've had enough of that probably over the last 12 months or so. So try and tell them what they're doing well. And isn't it taking us in the right direction? Yes. Is it a step forward? Yes, because previously we wouldn't have responded. We wouldn't have had a reaction, and we did. And more importantly, now we just try to look at those aspects in more isolation than looking at the whole results as just the performance. I'll try and look at the performance in isolation when things aren't going well, and the positive aspects of that, trying to reinforce them to the players.
And talking of positive, like, aspects, Cop has been fantastic for you in goal this year. Heroic performance against Aston Villa. I know goalkeepers love when it goes to penalties anyway, because they can then become the hero. But how important is it that you have that foundation of a solid goalkeeper? Because obviously when she came in last season, like, a little bit indifferent start, took her a little while to get going,
Yeah.
but now she's brilliant.
Yeah, no, I think she's doing really well. I think you have a presence, you have someone who commands and demands of the back line around her. I think she commands the 6 yard box really well. Distribution with the feet is good. More importantly, I think the good thing for Lisa, she always wants to be better, and she always wants to make sure that she can evolve a game. And if she wants to do that at the national level too, to compete with Van Domselaar, she has to do that. But more importantly, I think she's been very good. She's had the clean sheets in the games she's had. She performed really well. She's been in penalty shootout in terms of and done really well, scored and obviously saved two. But even against Man City, she saved Bunny Shaw's penalty. So yeah, at the moment, Lisa's full of confidence, and to have someone like that behind your back line with a big presence is something that gives the group a lot of confidence.
And what are you like personally as a manager? Like, I know you just spoke about taking the emotions away from it, but sometimes it's quite difficult to do that, isn't it? You kind of
Yeah.
eat, sleep, and breathe it when you're in it. Like, do you have any pre-match superstitions? Do you have any like quirky behaviors that we can let our listeners in for?
Not really in terms of pre-match before the game. I'm really relaxed. I don't eat anything before a game. That's more a superstition. I don't like to eat anything before a game. So whether it's if it's an early kickoff, Lianne, if it's a late kickoff, I don't eat anything till the game's finished. So I don't know where I get my energy from on the touchline, if I'm honest. But yeah, more as a manager, I'm passionate. I kick the ball with the players, I head every ball with the players. I'm animated from the side, but in a way of just reinforcement, Leanne, in terms of encouraging them to do more, encouraging them to be more brave, and just demanding some standards. And more importantly, I think more importantly from players, sometimes they want to see that little bit of passion from you as a coach, and yeah, it's all from a good place.
And you've also been nominated for WSL Manager of the Month. Like, how nice is that to kind of be nominated pretty early on and straight away? It must give you a lot of confidence.
Yeah, definitely. I think not just me, and I'm probably someone who doesn't take many applause and doesn't really like that kind of that thing. But more importantly, I have a wonderful group of staff behind me, Leanne, who have enabled me to settle down, have really took on their role and responsibilities very clearly, and enabled me to do my job at my best. And they complement me really well. And the playing group, I can't ask anymore. They're the ones who do the work. I stand there with the title as a head coach, and I demand a lot of them. I don't have to do the hard work they do. They work extremely hard day to day and week to week, and more importantly, all the credit goes to my staff behind me, but more importantly, the players.
And as somebody that's had Champions League experience with Bran, you took a team like Bran to the quarterfinals. And I said it with all due
Yeah.
respect, like top team. There's always that story, isn't there? Now, do you think, like, what is the timeline for Tottenham Hotspur women potentially pushing into those areas? Because it's difficult to break into because we know the budgets these other clubs have. But how much is that in the back of your mind?
Yeah, definitely in the back of my mind. When you get a taste of it, Leanne, in terms of like I did have, the feeling, the atmosphere, the anthem, those evenings, playing against top players, playing against top managers at the big stadiums, they're the moments you want to be a part of. And I know Tottenham want to be a part of that. The club have big ambitions. We have a clear strategy in terms of to be in those Champions League positions in the next 3 to 5 years. And more importantly, it's my job to make sure we can do that. But I'm under no illusion. Yeah, it's a tough ask in terms of within this league, but more importantly, I like a challenge. More importantly, and I think if we can get things right, you just need a little bit of luck to go your way against these top teams to be able to nick a result here and there. But I also know, being realistic, we've got a lot of work to do if we want to get to that point. And I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, we're capable of doing it now, because we're not. If I'm being realistic, we've got a lot of work to do to get there. And I'm someone who's probably won't give a grey area. I'll just be straight to the point. We have work to do, and we're nowhere near that yet.
And talking of top teams, I mean, it comes none other than on Sunday, you come up against Chelsea women. Like, how do you approach a game like that? Because obviously, going into a game like that, they are favourites, but it's a London derby. Like, what are your thoughts behind that, and how do you approach this game?
Yeah, the same mindset as we choose every other one, Leon. I think it's easy for a player. I don't want the players to go in defeated before they start. I want us to go in knowing that we belong to be we believe that we can be there and we belong there. Where that's on any level in terms of just being competitive, you've got to have an effort and a work rate. You've got to, more importantly in those games for me, you have to earn the respect of the opposition, so they understand you're not going to just turn up and kind of just roll over. And we won't do that. We'll make sure we earn the respect and they know that we're here to compete. And more importantly, we've got to make it as difficult as we can. We've got to frustrate them, more importantly, but we're not going to do that just by sitting on the back foot. We've got to make sure that when we have the ball, we take our moments, because the moments are few and far between. Against the top teams, they only give you some minor errors. And when we get them, we've got to be ruthless with it. But more important, we'll instill ourselves on the game. We'll push our game plan, but we'll go toe to toe with them and be competitive.
Well, Martin, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate top man, and like wishing you all the best of luck for the rest of the season. Thanks for coming on my show.
No, I appreciate it, Leanne. Thank you very much for having me.